So if we look at the scorpion, notice that it's a creature that, like spiders, as also an arachnid, they poison their victims. Now I was thinking that if we wonder what part the scorpions play in this whole picture of the world that we have now, I wonder if some of the things that we see that are these gradual poisonings, like the fluoride in the water, chemtrails, GMO foods, medicines, all kinds of things, could this be the scorpion at work? One thing we see from the alien xenomorph movies is a sort of inevitable victory of these creatures, like they are unstoppable. I thought most particularly when the little girl in the second movie responds to the Ripley character who says, "These are soldiers, they're here to protect you." And she says, "It won't make any difference."
Don't you think you'd be safer here with us? These people are here to protect you. They're soldiers.
It won't make any difference.
Then also you see in a later movie, you see the Ripley character saying that she'll breed, you'll die. And then we see that the alien xenomorph is super strong. It can punch through steel doors, according to who's ever playing the script. Now, we don't know if they're actually that strong, but they may be. And the xenomorph alien, when I first saw it in the original movie, Alien, I thought of a name for the creature itself as it would pertain to the sci-fi story that I wrote in my head about this race of aliens from the dark universe that didn't have eyes. And I named them the Garmarithian. And one of the things that I thought about when you look at the alien, notice how they're so slender. They're not like a, the alien warrior doesn't look like a buffed out muscular man. They have this sort of slender look, but you look at the limbs themselves, it almost looks like hydraulics. So I named it phenomenal hydraulics, like biohydraulics, making them super strong, which is why they didn't need to be so bulky, because their strength is of a different type than human muscle, which is why I think when they're depicting these aliens in some of the newer versions showing a muscle-like form, it seems like they've completely missed the original alien design, which is more like an insectoid exoskeletal type thing. It's not going to have muscles per se, and it's not going to have a soft exterior. It's going to be hard, and it's going to be like a biohydraulics. Again, if you haven't checked out the Jimmy Payne Witness, it's on Rumble, the Super Soldier Talk channel with James Rink. It's called Montauk, Xenomorphs, and so forth. And now, if the alien xenomorph is that strong, and it probably is, because according to his report, it subdued the entire crew of the Nostromo, except for himself and Ripley, who escaped in one of the lifeboats. So the fact is that it's very strong, probably a lot faster and stronger than a human. And he said that the spider that jumps out of the egg and the face hugger looks exactly like that, except it ran faster than what you see in the movie. That's what he said. The point being that a human has no chance, even perhaps with weapons, to defeat one or more of the xenomorphs. So they're super strong and super fast, and it's the same thing, for instance, as a man barehanded against a chimp. You ain't winning that fight, because chimp is much stronger, in case you didn't know that. So in some respects, that leads into the reality that humans are not going to be a match as far as like a physical combat. The same thing with a reptilian. You're not fighting a 9-foot tall reptilian or even a 7-foot tall reptilian and really gonna win a whole lot unless you have pretty strong weapons, but they're gonna have weapons too. And so the point being that this brings it back to what it says in Ephesians 6:12, that it's not a fight of flesh and blood. We wrestle not against flesh, but against, essentially what it says is, spiritual powers in high places. It's not a fight where we're going out there with swords and fighting the enemy. It's a spiritual battle that you win with spiritual tools. Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, that is, demons, okay? Not in the physical realm necessarily, but in the spiritual realm, the demonic realm, controlling our realm. Against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places, probably talking about their human servants. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, notice how many times it says stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, having on the breastplate of righteousness, because when the darts of the enemy come, you need to be strong already through righteousness, because what gets a lot of people is their own unrighteousness, their own wickedness. And your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Because see, we will be attacked. Whether it's serpents or scorpions or humans or who else, tools of the devil, you will be attacked. As I mentioned, one of the reasons that we may not see or hear about encounters with the scorpion as much is because the reptilians, we hear about the reptilians because they conduct ceremonies and do things with the humans, but the scorpions don't when they consume humans. But it looks like probably one of the reasons why you don't have the scorpions also in this domain is because they are so horrific in their physical form, if they were here in the world more, that it wouldn't allow for the ordinary situation of the world to exist. That's why God keeps them out, or the reptilians keep them out, because the reptilians are the dominant non-human species of Earth, as I've found. And if the alien xenomorphs or scorpions were to get loose in any sort of numbers in the world, it might be disastrous. They wouldn't be able to control it. So that's why they're kept out. But it could also be that, similar to this idea that I had for a sentient, super strong alien from a dark universe, which is why they didn't have eyes, that they are on their way, and there's going to be a physical incursion into the world of the scorpion. And when that happens, if it happens, that's going to be a truly horrific situation. And that may be something like what occurs after the rapture. But we know in any case, those that are left behind are going to seek death. Things are going to be so bad. But they won't be able to die. It'll be too late. They have to endure the punishment of their wickedness. Again, it's interesting in this one shot, this artwork where H.R. Giger did a rendering of a side view of the alien, and you see these almond-shaped eyes, and the caption is "Paradise Lost." And again, I think that this is what some of the fallen angels turned into, and then there may even be other forms of arachnid, humanoid type beasts that didn't start out as angels, but they were created separately. And again, as I said, they end up following these fallen angels because they're like bigger, more powerful, more intelligent versions of them. And so that's how they have this whole following. But the main point to take away from the situation, because see, God is in control of it, and it's not as though there can be truly a total takeover of the world or people getting killed or abducted or anything like that unless God was allowing it. So the purpose that we understand, who are spiritually awake, who are Christians, is that the point is that it's a test and a contrast of the two opposing basic principles that we have, which is the evil beasts and the godly Christians. And then the people who don't make a right choice will either be on the side of the evil beasts or become the evil beasts. As we know, they were transformed. Satan was transformed from a beautiful angel into a horrific beast. But he also gained the power to put himself into a human avatar and transform himself into an angel of light so as to fool people. But that disguise comes undone, as we see. So the question is, if we understand that it's a spiritual battle, what is the purpose of us knowing about the scorpions as opposed to the serpents? Now we know that God said to the serpent that, or he's describing the serpent, and he says that he was the most subtle of all the beasts of the field. So meaning the most crafty in deception. And probably, in fact, surely God created a situation where these beasts would seek to fool humans in any way they could, and to get them to follow after them and their devices of wickedness, and thus cement them over to their side, the dark side, and thus make them either eligible to be consumed or to be tortured, because that's what these creatures are. They're tormentors by and large, and the scripture says that in their paths nothing but ruin and misery. So the question is, what do we understand from this as far as what to do about it, and in particular what to do about, or the difference between dealing with the serpents as opposed to the scorpions? And I would just say probably that the main thing is to be aware that God gave us a major clue of the two primary non-human enemies, and there is a reason to be aware of the difference between the serpents and the scorpions. an image I had in my mind for the xenomorph alien when I first saw it and I wrote that story was the xenomorph alien having a nightmare about a light, and he didn't understand the light, but it was this encroaching field that was coming upon its territory, upon its domain, and it was afraid of this thing called light coming in. So that kind of rhymes with when God says that the darkness didn't comprehend the light, and the light is the truth, and the light is God, and the light is goodness and following that which is righteous, as opposed to the darkness where the rule of the jungle is the prevailing power. Coming to say howdy. If you're watching this, it's not too late. Say this prayer now. Father in heaven, please save my soul by the work of your Son Jesus on the cross, and show me your pure words in the authorized King James Bible.